Hello, welcome to Goodnight Flagstaff. I'm Robert Larkin. I work at North Country Healthcare, and you can hear me weekend evenings on Arizona Public Radio, KNAU. I enjoy being part of our town's Goodnight Flagstaff readers and enjoying the delightful books we are reading. You can find a new chapter from our favorite family-friendly books at 8 p.m. each weeknight on the Literacy Center's YouTube channel and on Crater Radio, a local online radio station. The previous chapter is replayed on Crater Radio each weeknight at about 7:45, just before the new chapter airs. And you can find all of the previous Goodnight Flagstaff recordings on YouTube. Tonight, we've reached the final chapter of Race to the Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. If you'd like to read along with us at home, the books we are reading are available in the Hoopla app, so you can borrow it right away with your Coconino County Library card. And please email us if you'd like to join our team of readers and connect with your community through our shared story time. All ages are welcome. Our email is GoodnightFlagstaff@gmail.com. Now, on to Race to the Sun. Previously, as we read together, things were reaching the exciting climax as Najoni's mom broke her fall and together they fought the bodyguards of the monster Mr. Charles. But when Najoni attacked Mr. Charles, he used her arrow against her and struck her in the heart. Najoni fell to the ground and, as we read last night, she woke up, surprised that she wasn't dead. Mr. Charles was prepared to correct that, and he approached her with his knife, transforming it into a menacing sickle. Just as he was about to strike, Najoni summoned the lightning inside her and blew the monster to bits. It's moments later as we begin the final chapter, number 46, Reunion. There is a deep silence, like the whole world is holding its breath, and then a sound like a bubble popping. And then more pops, as all the Banayagani in the sky above me burst in a blaze of white lightning and turn into ash that rains down on me. It's pretty much the grossest thing ever. Even the king buzzard explodes, becoming a black heap on the red desert floor. Flapping wings draw my attention as CD comes to a soft landing beside me. Yellow Corn Girl helps Davery slide off the back of his herald as he runs over. Did you do that? Yep, pretty sure that was me. That was amazing. Thanks. I try to stand, but my legs don't seem to want to work. A little help here? I say, holding out my arms. Davery grabs my hands and pulls me to my feet. I almost fall over. Using that lightning power must have taken a lot of my energy. Just lean against me, he says. We hobble over to where Mr. Charles used to be. All that's left of him is the stone handle of his small knife and a pool of black oil. He was a monster, not a human, Davery says, guessing what I'm thinking. You had to kill him. I know, I say, but it still feels weird. I wish my Shimasane were here to say a little prayer or something. He nods, totally understanding. A loud victory cry draws our attention, and we turn to see Sige land and my mom hop gracefully off his back. She must have switched back to the White Mountain Herald while I was fighting Mr. Charles. She has a huge bloody scratch on one cheek, and her hair is looking extra punk, sticking up like she put her finger in an electric socket. Her leather jacket is toast, but she's still carrying her lightning sword. Najoni, she shouts happily. I saw what you did. I'm sorry I couldn't get to you in time to help, but I'm so proud of you. She reaches out to hug me, and this time I let her. It's a little awkward, since she's still holding the sword, but it works. And I get a warm, fuzzy feeling that has nothing to do with lightning and everything to do with having my mom back. My arms tighten around her. You did what I couldn't, she says in an amazed tone. You defeated the monsters. You were awesome, too, I say, stepping back from our hug. I've never seen anyone fight with a sword in real life. It was badass. She laughs and lifts the sword slightly. Wish I'd had something like this way back when, but I didn't finish the trial, so there were no sacred weapons for me. She glances admiringly at the guardians and heralds that surround us, and I definitely didn't have this kind of backup. I do have the best backup, I say, grinning at Davery. But where's Mac? He asks, snapping me back to reality. Right here, says a familiar, friendly voice. Spider-Woman, still wearing her rock-climbing gear and carrying Mr. Yazzie, approaches us. Walking next to her, his black locks gray with webbing, is my brother. I grin, relieved to see him in one piece, but hesitate when I see the expression on his face. He looks a little green around the edges, like he's going to puke. Mac, are you okay? He nods glumly and runs a hand through his hair, dislodging a few strands of spiderweb. Did you know she was going to wrap me up like a tasty fly? Spider-Woman grins, looking not sorry at all. I told him it was the only way, she shrugs. We all laugh and group hug Mac until he finally relaxes and smiles a little too, but not without one last shudder at the horror of it all. We're not done yet, I say. We've still got to find Dad. With Mr. Charles and his henchmen dead, how are we going to do that? We'll search everywhere, Davery assures me. No need, Spider-Woman says. I found him, too. They had him all tied up in a big black SUV just over Chusca Mountains. Thought he might belong to you. Dad! I shout. He comes around from behind Spider-Woman where he was hiding. He looks a little banged up, his Albuquerque Scorpions hockey t-shirt torn at the collar and a few small bruises on his face, but he seems okay otherwise. Mac and I rush over to hug him, and he laughs as he wraps us in his arms. My kiddos, he whispers against my hair. I'm so sorry. I never meant to leave you. You didn't leave us, Dad. Monsters kidnapped you, Mac says. It feels like I should have done more. I should have protected you, beloved Nishoni. I did tell you that he was a monster. And you beat them all, he says, holding me out and looking at me like maybe he's never seen me, the real me, before. I blush, feeling proud but a little embarrassed. Well, Mac helped a little. Excuse me? I helped a lot, Mac protests. I saved your butt up there. I punch him in the shoulder. Of course you did, and Davery did too. I step back so Dad can see Davery, who is offering his water bottle, but his eyes land on someone else. Bethany, he says, his voice soft with wonder. You're alive. Mom steps up, tears in her eyes, her chin raised defiantly. But she pats down her hair and looks at Dad like she missed him too. I can explain, she starts before Dad cuts her off. He pulls her into an embrace, and I hear him say, tomorrow. We have time to talk about it all tomorrow. Mac makes a face at me. Gross. Are they going to kiss? I look, yep. We all politely turn our backs, Spider-Woman included. Now what, kids? She asks. My stomach growls, and I realize I haven't eaten anything since our morning Spam burritos. Don't suppose you have any more burritos? No, but if you want to come back to my place, I know a monster-slaying girl who can make some mean fry bread. I'm not doing beans again, Mac groans. I got the worst gas, farted for days. Hey, who's that? Davery asks. We all look, squinting into the sun that's now halfway to its zenith. Coming down a dirt road, heading right towards us, is a bright green pickup truck. It's an old one, nothing fancy, and a cloud of dust trails out behind it as it approaches. I recognize that truck, I say. Shima, Mom says from behind me, her voice soft. It's my mom. My grandmother pulls up to a stop in front of us, her old pickup rattling. Hey, she says. I heard there was a commotion out this way. Scared my sheep. Thought I better come check it out. Anyone need a ride? She gets out, and she looks just like she did in my dream, but without the apron. We all start talking at once. There's a lot of tears and hugging, and soon enough my Shimasani is shooing us towards the truck, talking about getting us back to her house. We'll have a feast, she says, in honor of Bethany coming home and Najoni and Marcus discovering their powers. I'll make a mutton stew and fry bread." "Did you know, Grandma?" I ask, curious, "about our family legacy?" She nods, her face solemn. "I was never called on to fight the monsters. That was my brother, Eugene. And when your mom went missing, I knew she had been called too." "Maybe the family can finally enjoy some peace for a while," says my mom, putting her arm around my waist and squeezing. "Thanks to Najoni." "Wouldn't that be nice?" says my Shimashani. "But that's not usually how it goes for our people." That reminds me of something Mr. Yazzie said. I look around for him, and I see that he is perched on top of Spider-Woman's helmet. "Grandma?" "Yes, Najoni?" "Would you tell me more of the old stories sometime?" She pats my shoulder. "Why, of course. We can all share stories after we eat." "Hey, Grandma," Max shouts from behind us. "We found Eugene, too. He was in the Lost and Found with Davery and Mom and me. He's with the other Slayers on the other side of Shiprock." So they did make it after all. Grandma blinks, surprised. "Is that so?" Her voice is matter-of-fact, but she rubs a tear from her eye. "I bet he and the others need a ride," Mom says gently. "Want to go get them?" "I'm going to have to make 2 trips, my Shimashani says. But maybe I could fit one of them, at least." "And which one might that be?" Mom asks with a laugh. "How are we going to explain all these relatives?" Dad says, sounding bewildered. I think Davery tried to bring him up to speed while we were talking to Grandma, but the poor man still looks overwhelmed. "This is the res," Spider-Woman says dismissively. "Stranger things have happened than a few missing relatives showing up. We'll figure it out." She gives us a wink. "Are you coming?" I ask her. "Why not? I'll hang around for a while. Make sure you show Shimashani your bread-making skills. You better give me credit, though. That's my recipe." Mom and Dad climb into the front seat, and Spider-Woman and us kids hop into the open bed. Grandma turns the truck around and heads back down the road the way she came. We bump along, holding on to the sides, the wind blowing our hair back. "I love stew and all," Max says, "but you know what I could really go for now? Some hot Cheetos." While Mac babbles on about food, Davery touches my arm to get my attention. "What are you thinking about?" "The song," I say. "The map of wonder the cart lady gave us." "What about it?" "It talks about the air of lightning in that last verse." "That's you," he says solemnly. "Maybe not quite yet, but I'm getting there." "Are you sad?" he asks. "That you're finally here, but nobody back at school is going to know about it?" No screaming fans, no one carrying me on their shoulders, no YouTube or Insta to prove it happened. Exactly. "No," I say, shaking my head. I look at my mom, Dad, and Grandma chatting away in the cab, trying to make up for lost time. Mac droning on about hot Cheetos to Spider-Woman and Mr. Yazzie, who are listening politely. Then Davery, my best friend, right beside me, still clutching his lightning book of knowledge. "The important people know." I bump his shoulder with mine, and he smiles. "And even better, they're all here. What more could a monster slayer ask for?" Thank you for tuning in. Join us tomorrow night as we start our new book, The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. Good night, Flagstaff.